I smell a child.
I'm Steph.
And I'm Ange.
We're
Nerdazons.
That
was
good?
awesome. That was
Okay, good. And that only was like first take.
That was good. I really liked that.
This fortnight is my choice, and as I mentioned last episode, I'm writing off Ange's horror / supernatural type
Yay.
nostalgia. I'm doing the 1990 version of Roald Dahl's Witches versus the 2020 Witches. 1990, a young boy stumbles onto a witch convention and must stop them even after he has been turned into a mouse. And then the 2021, a young boy and his grandmother have a run-in with a coven of witches and their leader. Already, like, the original one sounds so much better. Can we just say, first of all, Angelica Houston, oh my gosh,
Damn.
I love her.
Me too. Oh my God, me too.
There's literally nothing she can do wrong.
Absolutely not. And you know what? I was trying to explain to my partner. He's like, she looks a bit like a man. And I'm like, she just looks
gorgeous.
Yeah, and she has like this look to be like, I'm not going to mess with you because I reckon
She's got
you...
resting bitch face.
Yes, but she has it in such a like sultry,
Elegant,
seductive way, you know?
Yes.
And it's all in the eyes.
Oh my gosh, she's gorgeous. She can do no wrong in her acting.
I agree.
At the beginning of so first of all, the 2020, I actually watched that one first after a really long time. And I didn't know how I felt going in thinking that Anne Hathaway is going to be the Grand Mistress, the Grand Witch. Because Angelica Houston does such an amazing role in everything, yeah. I just think, she's got big shoes to fill.
Yes.
I loved it. I really, really loved it. And I knew that going in, this is a movie that, it holds so many memories to me.
Okay.
And I enjoyed both movies.
Okay. Interesting.
Are you going to break my heart this episode?
I was opposite. I actually watched it back to back, the original and then the remake, and I did not like it and I would not watch it again.
In the new one, I was heartbroken when the parents died, that I was just looking at their names and little boy is called Hero Boy. That's what he's credited as. I was so heartbroken when his parents died, and when Grandma came and was like, nobody says no to my chicken wings. No, come on. And she's just like, you've got to eat. And when she's noticing that he's not eating, she's then, puts the music on and she's like, come on, let's dance.
Yeah.
And, I just loved that.
I love Octavia Spencer, and that actually was something I said to my partner when we were watching it, and I said she just had this matriarchal feel that you feel immediately safe with her. She's tough but firm, but you feel safe around her.
Yes.
And she had that vibe. Okay, are we going to talk storyline first?
We're completely all over the place. So
yes, we are. Let's talk storyline first, because I actually really preferred the original introduction. The way the grandmother was explaining witches to the little boy, it had such a more eerie feel to it. When she's talking about her friend, and then it showed you at the end, and then when the dad just freezes and he stares at the painting and you notice that her little face is in the painting, that literally gave me goosebumps when I watched it. I forgot all about that, and I'm like, oh my God, that was so much more creepier. It was like the end of The Shining when you see Jack Nicholson in the picture, and it just gives you that vibe, and I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing already, and it's only the introduction. And then because of that introduction, and then I jumped straight into the remake, I was just like, oh, okay. Yeah, there were things that had changed in the storyline that I didn't mind, but there were things that I didn't like. And since we're on storyline, I'm going to just go and jump straight to the end.
Yeah.
I have a love-hate relationship with this ending, and I don't quite know if I like it and I don't quite know if I hate it. But when he doesn't turn back to a human, part of me is like, haha, the witches get the last laugh, and I'm happy about that. But then also part of me is like, I liked in the original that there was like a white witch, like a good witch that came out, and I like it's just all part of like witch movies. There's always like a white witch, and there's always like the evil witches, and I liked that she came and she helped them at the end. It didn't happen in the remake, but I also liked that the witches got the last laugh. Even though they got turned into rats, they stayed as mice for the rest of their life. Also, what happened to Bruno and Daisy when he was telling all the other kids about witches and he was still a mouse there? Where were the other two?
I know. And how did he get to teach a class about witches?
Exactly.
You know, that was a bit okay.
Because they're witch hunters, if you watch the credits.
Yeah. I know. I liked it that they turned into witch hunters. And I'm the same as you. I loved in the original that he did turn back into a boy and that it all ended well because it is a child story.
Yes.
Poor little things, but they ended up having the best time of their lives being mice. So, you know,
I don't know. I'm not sure if you've read the book. I haven't, so I'm not sure if that is how the ending goes in Roald Dahl's book. So I don't know if it's closer to the book or not. But I'm just out of comparison of the two movies. I think for storyline, I did prefer the original, and it had that real fairy tale storytelling vibe, like Princess Bride and stuff. Like, it's like she was narrating it and it really made you feel like she was telling a scary campfire story, and it just gives you that vibe as a kid without you having to be like really scared.
Yeah, because when you get into it, the witches in the original were scary.
Yeah, well,
and I liked the fact that it had a nice ending because the witches, you know, you've got all that energy going on, and then you go, okay, it ties up well. Whereas this one, the witches weren't as scary. But I did like as well in the beginning when their little boy is in the supermarket and he sees the witch, and that was like, it just gave me a little shivers down my spine. Just when the snake came out, and then, you know, where he's saying, I've got to tell you something, Grandma, and she's like, was it a witch, blah blah blah, and then you know, I like how that's how she knew about the witch and how her friend got turned into a chicken. And
see there were things that I liked, like it's so perplexing to me because there were some things that I liked and I thought it did really well in the second one, but at the same time I didn't like it. And that scene of the witch, I don't feel it had as big an impact in the supermarket as the original one did, because it starts off where the grandma tells him what they're like, right? And so then after, you know, you realize his parents have died, they go back to England, and then he's playing in the tree house, and then he recognizes the witch. Like, it's like, oh my God, she's got purple eyes. I actually thought the snake was creepier in that one because she was trying to coax him with it, whereas this one, it looked predatory. Like, you know, it didn't entice him. The whole point is she's trying to entice the child. It's like the whole Hansel and Gretel thing with the, like, you know, come into the house. And but like in the second one, it didn't have that vibe. It was like, yeah, it's dangerous, but it's almost a hypnotic dangerous.
I had a lot of fun watching this movie, so I didn't take it so seriously as... I just, you know, thought, why not just a fun movie?
It was definitely funnier, and there were some things that Anne Hathaway did that I found funnier. Like, it wasn't as serious.
No. So can we go into characters?
Yes, okay, please, yes.
Okay, so Anne Hathaway as the Grand High Witch, as I was saying in my introduction, I wasn't expecting very much from her, as Angelica Houston had done such an amazing job at that role. You know, she was creepy. She
doesn't even need to talk, and she makes you feel afraid. That's how amazing Angelica Houston. And all she did was like, you can't see this, listeners, but I'm trying to mimic. But she just would have her shoulders high and her head high, and she'd look like she's looking down at you, and you knew to back away. Like, she just had that like poise about her. I didn't get that vibe from body, like, stance from Anne Hathaway.
See, I liked it. I think she did an okay job at...
She did okay. She did better than my expectations, but she'll never be Angelica Houston in that role. And she definitely brought more of a comedic side to it, which I didn't mind. I think I had too much of, like, not high expectations.
No,
I just
but
knew it was going to be, yeah, I can't
you knew
explain
that
it.
you were going to compare it to
Yes,
Angelica Houston.
and I mean, no, like, you just can't replace her.
No. And I went in thinking, you know what? She's amazing. I'm going to see if Anne Hathaway can pull up to that bar. And I mean, she was okay in the fact that it wasn't on Angelica's level, but she beat my expectations. And I thought, she was creepy when she took her wig off. And I liked the fact that they made her hands, two fingers, and the toes it looked like a giant FU that they were flipping you the bird, her feet.
Yeah, they look like vulture feet. But the thing I didn't like about that actually is because in the original one, they even specify that witches don't wear heels. They're in plain shoes because of their feet. And then they all come in looking like divas with massive heels in. And I didn't like that vibe about it. But there is one thing I'll say that
it wasn't as shocking.
Yeah, and I just feel like, it's modern standard, make every woman look like sexy. And I just thought I liked the fact that, and like, it's just Jim Henson and how amazing he is with these things, like in everything I love. Like, they're witches, they're like vile looking, and he did that. Whereas
they're not aliens.
And they made these women, even with all their like wigs off, they didn't have like all the warts and stuff, and they tried to do some of the bad skin, but it just didn't come across that vibe to me. They still looked gorgeous even with their wigs off. But the one thing I did like that they added, I know it was more CGI, but I feel like this was more to the description in the original when she's like when a witch finds their target, they will lock onto the scent until they get their target, right? So it's like, even if you happen to get away, they'll find you because they've got your scent. And I liked how they made the nostrils really, really big when she could smell him. And it's like, that makes sense, because if she's found your scent, she's going to find, like, it's like a natural, like, sniffer dog sort of thing. You know what I mean? And I really liked that when she was doing it all across the stand.
Yes.
That I still think Angelica Houston takes the win of
course,
Grand Witch. But do you want to move over to the grandma?
Oh my gosh, yes. So May Zetterling as Helga, she was okay, but I just she was, Octavia had that motherly
matriarchal feel.
Yes. And that, I bonded with Octavia Spencer more when she was trying to help the little boy, get out of the depression hole that he was in.
Yeah. I do agree. I personally think Octavia Spencer gets the point for this one, but there's one element that was missing from the grandmother that I preferred in the original because it made so much more sense to me, and it made sense. Like, I don't know, it just added an element to it, and it was the missing finger, because she got away from the Grand Witch, and that's it. Like, they didn't have to say it, but it alluded to it as an old adversary. She got away. Whereas in the second one, like, she just had a memory, and all she did was look and see her friend with the Grand Witch, and she ran. So the Grand Witch didn't even come across her as a child, and she's like, you got away from me, you had pigtails. And it's just like, I didn't get that connection vibe between them.
No, neither did I. And
there was no fear from it. Like, whereas, like, and Helga, like, she looked scared when she'd see her, like, and you knew there was something there, and I liked that connection between them. It just, I don't know, it just added more to the mystery and fear of Angelica Houston's character.
What about the connection that Octavia had with Luke, her grandson? I liked the Nan's relationship in the original. Like, they were goofing around together and were in on little jokes with each other. Yeah. I thought that was gorgeous. Whereas I think
they had a very different approach. So Octavia Spencer had a real, like, you could tell she was firm but fair as a grandmother. Whereas the original one, she was tenderly. So she was always like attentive to him, and she always had that like loving feel about her, but you didn't see any of the firm, like, grandmotherly, okay, look, it's now time for you to go to bed or something. Like, it was just a very different vibe between the two of them. I don't know which one I prefer, though, I have to say. I feel like they were both pretty good. What about you?
I like the original. I just think it was just cute, and just that they were in on little jokes with each other, and
The doctor
she
with
was
the
helping.
diabetes.
Yeah, but when she was helping the little mouse get places, I just felt like she was more engaging rather than just standing behind the door and getting the three mice to, use the lock to pick it.
And oh my God, as soon as I saw that, I immediately like yelled at the TV and I said to my partner, I'm like, why didn't she just unlock the door with her own hands and put the key in when she's seeing three mice struggle to hold the key and turn the lock? And I'm like, it looks like his response was like, it looks more sus with her just standing with her back to the door.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
And I also have to say, this is kind of a bit of a sidestep from characters here, but vibe of them as mice was much better in the first one. I got a real, like, did you ever see the movie Mouse Hunt?
Yes.
I got like a vibe of that, like that. It's like you were so nervous every time they like zoomed in on the feet. It's like, oh my God, they're gonna get squished or anything like that. But you didn't see much of that, of them running through the hotel. It was only just to get to the grandma, and then after that, she kind of carried them.
I liked that they had them running around in the hotel and scurrying past like that. You're right. It had like
a suspense to it that the second one almost didn't have.
Yeah, and I mean, yes, okay, it had the roller coaster part, not as good as being in the hotel.
I do also just, again, I know we've sidestepped from characters, but one thing that also irked me with the second one, they used a CGI cat.
I know.
And I hated it. And I'm like, oh, they had a beautiful black cat in the original and it just complemented Angelica Houston so well. And the cat didn't have to do much, but it just, that whole, witch vibe sort of thing. Black cat. And then they used the CGI cat and I'm like, oh my God.
And the way that she put her arm out and she's like, and I'm like, no cat can fit on your arm and sit down on your arm. You can't hold that weight. That kind of annoyed me as well. Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
All right. So let's move on to Luke by Jason Fisher and Hero Boy. Thought the little kid in the original was cute and very 90s kid, like Home Alone kind of over the topness. And I loved that. I liked that it added that to the witches are growing up. I remember them scaring the utterness out of me, thinking that, oh my gosh, something's so ugly. And now I watch it and I'm like, they're gross. They're not scary. They're now gross.
Yeah.
I really liked him, whereas Hero Boy was cute, but something was missing from him.
Yeah, I know exactly. I think I'm going to say exactly what you're thinking. So I agree. I actually think both kids were so adorable. And the professionalism of them as actors. And I'm pretty sure Hero Kid was a little bit younger. So he astounded me with his acting. They were both cute. The thing that I think that is missing with the second one was he was an immediately calculating kid and he knew exactly what he was going to do. Whereas in the second one, there was no of that, oh my God, like witches and fear. And then it's like, oh, okay, well, like, what are we going to do? Maybe we can go and get like a vial, like we should do something. Whereas he immediately knew, we're going to get the vial, we're going to make them like eat it in their soup. And like, he was just attack immediately as soon as he became a mouse. I know they mentioned that in the original. He's just like, as soon as I became a mouse, I just didn't feel afraid. But he did have a little bit of it.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying in the fact that, yes, okay, he wasn't afraid, but how does he know how to calculate all of this by being, a 6-7-year-old? I think you're right.
He was just too ready for action too quick. Even like at the end when he was still a mouse, I think the one thing in the original one, you can tell he had this almost like a sympathetic tone to his voice when he's like, it's really okay, Grandma, I'm okay to be a mouse. And it felt like more of a, I'm accepting it and I'm okay with that. Whereas in the second one, he's like, yeah, no, I really love it. I'm going to like, I'm just going to stay a mouse. And it just was different. And it just made it seem so much more special when he actually did become a kid again, because it's like, you know what, you did accept your fate and you were like granted, like the fates granted you your second chance.
That's what I kind of got from that as well.
Yeah, so like I feel like the character development was a bit better in the first one. Both kids acted amazingly, but I also feel like it was a full episode of everyone hates Chris.
Yes.
When he
Yes.
started narrating, I'm like, are we watching Everyone Hates Chris with like Terry Crews?
Oh, I love Terry Crews.
Me too.
Okay, sorry. Now, last-ish, I want to talk about Stanley Tucci as Mr. Stringer
I
versus
didn't even
Rowan
notice it was
Atkinson.
him.
Really? I freaking
Okay, I
love
wasn't
Stanley
looking at the
Tucci so
screen.
much.
I wasn't looking at the screen, and my partner said, "Hey, it's Stanley Tucci," and I wasn't listening to him either. And then later, I was just like, I was looking through the names because I recognized Daisy's voice, and I'm like, I'm sure it's that beautiful like Broadway singer.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I found her, I'm like, oh my God, Stanley Tucci's in this, and he's like, I said that to you, and I'm like, well, I wasn't paying attention, and he looks weird with hair, okay?
Oh yeah, as soon as I was like, last thing I remember watching you in was Hunger Games, and I'm like, oh no, that's right, that's what you look like. I think both were so good. Rowan Atkinson brought his Mr. Beanness to it and his goofiness. But I also like the fact that Stanley Tucci, when she was saying, yes, but you can make this exception. And he's like, oh, like he was frightened of her.
I didn't get that. Yeah, okay. The one thing about Anne Hathaway, I'm sorry, I'm sidestepping here, is her accent was atrocious, and it really irked me that whole film. I could not get past it.
It was pretty bad.
And like when she was saying you can make an exception, I'm like, you just sound like an entitled, stuck-up cow. And if I was serving you, I'd do the bare minimum I could around you because of the way you're speaking to me. That's the vibe I got from her. I didn't get the vibe that he was afraid. Whereas, yeah, I feel like in the original, everyone just acted around Angelica Houston so perfectly that she just needed to stare you down and you'd back off.
I kind of get that, but I liked both of them. I think they were both cast perfectly.
Yeah.
They were just such good comic relief. And, you know, when they see the mice and they're all running through and then you see Rowan Atkinson, mouse, and they're all trying to capture them. I like that so much that, you know, they're all just running crazy.
Yeah, like, so you didn't have much of that in the second one as well. And like, as I said, that level of suspense is gone, like Mouse Hunt had as well, the movie. In the second one, like I said, you just see them once run up to the room. And then I found it funny when the maid followed them to the door, and then when she realized they went in the girls' room, she shoved her back in and shut the door.
Yeah,
and
I know. I like that
as well. With that. But like, you only really saw the guy come in with the mouse traps once, and then you didn't really see, like in the other one,
there was no other traps, no other nothing.
Yeah, you watched them really prepare for these mice, and it's like, oh my God, there's so much more like a level of danger now to it, and you didn't really get that vibe in the second one.
I think because I know that it's a kids' movie, I guess that, I don't know, I was thinking maybe it's not, they're trying to make it super kids friendly. Whereas the other one, you know, it was, I think you had to be a little bit older to watch the 1990 because it was creepy and there was a little bit of adult humor to it. Whereas the 2021, I think they tried to make it very PG, very...
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
So that's why, you know, I didn't expect too much from it.
But I just want to quickly move over to sort of like CGI and prosthetics. Hands down, Jim Henson's amazing.
Yes.
And how amazing did Angelica Houston look in all those prosthetics? He's a genius with that stuff, and he can just make it look... I just love seeing it on camera instead of CGI. Like I said, especially with the cat, it really just... I didn't need to see a CGI cat climb down the hotel room. It just didn't... Anyway, I don't know how to explain it. I just don't like it.
I loved when she was like pulling a mask off.
And she'd have it like half there with like her face.
Yes.
Yeah.
Versus I'm just going to now smile
open
wider.
My mouth. It was like Predator or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of got like Predator vibes.
Yeah. So I definitely think the original gets the point for that one for sure. And there's also another thing I wanted to mention. I don't know if you noticed this, but this is also something, a vibe that I didn't get. I think this is why I couldn't take too well to Anne Hathaway. Like when she first comes into the room, even into the hotel, it was very much like an army. Like when they go into the conference room, they marched in and they all just sat down obediently. I liked that it was like a conference and that all the witches wanted to fight for the front rows just so they can be close to Angelica Houston, and you watch them squabble over their seats and then they all sit. I liked that. Whereas this, they just like marched in and then they just sat down, and I'm like, it had a different vibe that I didn't like.
I agree that it was witches from out of town and they're all coming here and they get to finally meet Angelica Houston. This is super culty.
Yeah.
I don't know. It didn't feel like a witch's coven. It felt like it was a cult.
Yeah. And like, she seemed, I can see the vibe they were trying to do with her, where it was like a bit like David Bowie in The Labyrinth with the Goblins, when like he'd try and make a joke and they wouldn't laugh, and he's like, well, laugh, like he's making them like follow along with him. And I got that vibe with her. It's like, you know, if they'd applaud her, or she'd be like, applaud now or something. Like, I just got that vibe that she was like needy for attention as a supreme witch, whereas in the other one, like, they were fighting for her attention because she was the supreme witch, you know?
Yes.
And it added so much more to the character that she was more feared.
That's right. And that Anne Hathaway wasn't scary at all. This movie was not scary at all.
And the amount of time she got hurt really made her as a character not scary as well. Like, when her feet got hit with the
mousetrap,
when her hands got attacked, and then when she peeled the skin and she's like crying that because the skin came off, and it's just like they really made her weak as the Grand Witch.
And the fact that her arms, I didn't like that her arms could stretch out. Like,
I thought it was
you're not an alien. Like, they should have named this movie The Aliens based on Roald Dahl's The Witches, not The Witches, because they were nothing witchy about them.
Yes, I agree. Completely agree. Like,
but it was still fun.
Yeah, I like I said, it wasn't bad. I would never watch it again. And there were things that I definitely liked. Like I said, I kind of liked that the witches got the last laugh with the kids. Like, you're stuck as mice now. Like, if I was a witch, I'd be like, yeah, suck it. I'd be like, I'll get the last laugh. Like, I liked that vibe. But I also really liked having the two sides of it. You had the evil witches and then you had a white witch, and I just thought that was really cool.
I don't know. I really liked obviously the original wins 100%, but I also really liked some things about the remake that is better to me than the original. For example, Octavia, she was so good, and Rowan Atkinson and Stanley Tucci, they were quite good together as well.
Yeah, I see. I still, like, I agree. I think the original's going to win. I think that the remake had more of an effect on you than it did me. I think there were more negatives that outweighed the positive, like the things that I liked about the second one.
Okay, so how many movie reels do you give the 1990 versus 2020?
I give the 1990 a 4.5. It still holds. The story is great. Like, my future kids, I'm going to let them watch it. I just think stories like this are so great when you're kids, because you can't watch, horror films, but it's a great kooky story. And I still feel it holds to like the grim fairy tale type stories of like witches and goblins and things like that. And I think that is an element you just can't capture anymore. And the fact that they still look scary in all their prosthetics.
I agree.
The movie holds. Like, I don't think there was anything in that film that didn't hold at all. Like, it aged well. The second one, sorry.
No go.
The second one, I'm going to give it a 2. There were things I liked. Like I said, I couldn't tell with some things if I liked it or didn't. I would never watch the second one again. And, future kids will never watch it unless they choose to put it on. They have to watch the original first. That is my saying.
Okay.
But I can see that there were some good things about it, which is why I think I'd give it a 2.
Okay. So with the 1990, I'm going to give it a 4.5 because it still holds up. Like exactly what you said. The witches are still like scary, but not, that you can tell that there's prosthetics now and they're kind of like more quirky and creative than they are scary. But seeing this for the first time, you're probably going to poop your pants if you're a little kid watching this,
Yeah.
Angelica Houston, oh, mwah. So with the 2020, I went in not expecting much, and it went above my expectations.
Yeah, it seems like you really liked it.
I didn't love it. It wasn't my favorite movie.
Mm-hmm.
Will I watch it again? Probably. But I'm going to give it a 3.5.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think the 1990 got on Rotten Tomatoes?
Okay. I know the original, like every other person who watched it growing up loves it, and it's a cult classic.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't think it's like Night of the Living Dead original scoring, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go about 84%.
Higher.
Really? Okay, my thought process was off. Like a lot higher?
I think you should stick to that thought process of
Night of the Living Dead?
Yeah.
Did it get 94%?
You are so hot, boiling hot, but not quite
higher
there.
Or lower?
93.
Wow, I'm so happy because it was so good, and like we said, it still holds. So obviously it still holds to this day.
And audience score is 70%.
Yeah, because I feel like you've got some outer generation, the generation that grew up with it, that's like, it's so crap now.
Yeah, look at all the graphics. Ooh.
Yeah. Okay, the second one, let's have a go at that. Okay, I feel like this one's going to be marked more to my thought process than your thought process.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to guess. Like, are you laughing at the score or at what I'm saying?
I'm laughing because you're like, I'm going to go on your thought process and not Steph's thought process.
Because I feel like everyone else would think the same thing. Wait, does that mean your thought process is more correct and I should think like you?
I don't know. Did I just confuse you?
No, I'm going to stick with my original thought process. I'm going to go with about 52%.
So close. Lower.
And I've been off lately. All right, 47.
Oh, just off the mark, 49%.
Ah, yeah.
And the audience score was 32%.
Yeah, okay. I can see getting at about half, because I agree. I think it is about half. There were good things and there were bad things, but yeah, no, I can see those scores.
Yeah, I thought it would have got a little bit better than that, and like I said, I'd watch it again. Shall we move on to
Nerdazon's Nerdy Notables?
Okay, I'm sorry that it sounds like I've lost my voice a little bit. Last night I went on a 90s cruise around the harbour, and it was the first time going out since lockdown. I don't think I've danced that much in my life, and I don't think I've screamed, and I didn't think I was a woo girl. I'm a woo girl.
Oh my god, okay.
Yeah.
And here I am still sort of semi-lockdown, finishing my studies. I've got a couple weeks to go and then I'm free.
Yay! No, oh my gosh, they played like the Genuine song. They played Sand. They played Backstreet Boys. They did Five. They did like Spice Girls, and we all, like the whole boat, just decided that we were all going to do the Stop Right Now. Thank you very much. It was such a good night.
That sounds awesome.
But I'm a little bit ashamed to say that I am a woo girl.
No, don't be ashamed. I wouldn't be ashamed. Anything else new in your life of movie watching?
What have I been watching? Okay, so I have the option to watch Dune on the internet, and I'm totally putting it off. I want to watch it so bad.
I actually really want to see this in the cinema as well. So I'm
but
like,
I don't
just
want
need
to wait 3 months until
it's not 3 months. It's like a month away.
Oh, it's a month.
You exaggeration.
It's a month away, and I don't know if I want to wait a month to like watch it, because I am going to watch this more than one.
I say don't ruin it. I feel like this, like from what I've heard, this is incredible in the cinema, and I feel like you shouldn't ruin it. Your first experience. Like, I've heard really good things about it.
And one of the reasons why I've spoiler, I'm choosing this as my as my January episode. So we're going to do the movie, the 1986 movie versus this movie. One of the reasons why I am so hyped up and so excited is I was reading reviews, and one of my favorite reviews was if I could F a movie, I would F all over this one. And I'm just so like,
funny. See, I feel like this movie will surprise me because I know nothing about it. I know that you're obsessed with it. I haven't read the book. I haven't seen the original movie. I know zero about it. The only thing I know is that Zendaya's in the new one, and I think she is fudging amazing. So I'm keen to watch.
Don't expect her to be in a lot of the movie.
Wow, spoiler.
I know. No, not really. It's not a spoiler. Yes, so I am like, don't have too many expectations.
I have zero.
When I don't even watch the original.
Yeah, I'll watch the original after I see the new one, I think. I want to go into the new one with no expectations. So then that way I can go to Steph and I can be like, I totally understand your obsession now.
We're going to go see this together.
Yes, I want to go and see it in the cinema.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
So what have I been watching? I've been watching Sex Education. That movie's...
Me too. Oh, my God, me too.
Oh, my God, it's so cute.
I didn't know you're watching it. Okay, I need to talk about this.
Is actually good at being funny.
Who? Oh, yeah,
Gillian Anderson.
Yeah. Where are you up to?
I am up to season 3, episode 6.
Okay, so I'm still in season 2. Okay. I only watch the occasional episode just because, like, with work and study at the moment, I'm so tired that I'm just watching random YouTube videos. I'm not committing to anything. But, yeah, no, I was, like, so into it. Like, a workmate of mine told me to watch it. And, like, I was messaging and I was, like, predicting things because he's seen it. So that's the only reason why I was telling him what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then I was predicting things, and then I got really annoyed. Really annoyed. I'm still really annoyed over something. And I'm not going to say it because I don't want to have any spoilers for people.
No, who cares? It's been out for a while. Just talk to me.
I hate Maeve and Otis.
Oh, my God. I hate Maeve and Otis.
I really dislike them. And I'm in season 2, and I'm like, I still effing hate you guys. And then I just had a thought in the last episode I watched. I feel like Ola and Lily are going to get together. That's a prediction of mine that I'm going to come up with. In the very first episode, I guessed Eric and Adam. Like, when he bullied him, I guessed it, like, straight away. And I'm like, those two are going to get together. But
oh, my God, they are just the cutest.
They are. I mean, so the episode I just watched was when Otis and Ola were going to, you know, go to third base. She saw Maeve had messaged him.
Yeah.
That was the episode I just got up to. So I really dislike Maeve and Otis, like, so much. And then my workmate was like, maybe your thoughts will change. And I'm like, nah, they've had, like, 2 strikes. Like, A, she was a cow to him. B, like, when she was in a relationship, she completely ignored him and expected the same. And then now that he's in a relationship, she goes and, like, wrecks it. I'm sorry, but no, I think that was just really harsh.
I don't like how they're on again, off again, on again, off again. Too much. Like, I get it, you know, to build a storyline on again, off again, every now and again. But it seems to be that they're breaking up, getting back together, breaking up. I just think even though they've never been together.
I just feel Maeve is really selfish as a character. Yeah. Like, in the whole season when she was dating, I don't know what that guy's name was, the swimmer, like, the whole time Otis was the one who was pining over her, but he never, like, stepped the boundary, you know, like, he never went out of the way. She ignored him, you know, it was all about her and her boyfriend. But then when she realized, oh no, it's him I want, and he'd already moved on, then she's like, oh, you're in a relationship, I'm gonna break that. Like, even at the dance, she was a cow to Ola, and she's like, oh, maybe you shouldn't be there. It's like, you got a boyfriend, like, bugger off.
I know.
And I was so angry and so invested in these characters, and I'm like, I hate you.
Where I'm up to, I'm not going to give any spoilers because I know I'm obviously ahead, but I think you're going to hate on her even more.
Yeah, like, I have, like, an immediate distaste to her. I really do. And the person who breaks my heart the most, and I'm so, like, hurt for, is Adam. Like, his character is just crying for help, you know, and his dad's a dick. part of my language. I also feel like Adam's dad doesn't know who he is, and he's projecting that onto Adam.
Agreed.
I feel like he's projected that onto his son, and his son is trying to be better, but he's not even giving him the time of the day. And I really, really feel for him. And I'm like, well, someone just pay him attention. And then Eric's the only one to go and see it, how he was. And I'm like, I feel for you. You just need help.
I know. Nothing other than that's been going on.
Yeah, same. Nothing for me. That's pretty much my life. Hopefully, I'll have more to say next time.
And next fortnight is your choice. What are we doing for our Christmas special?
We're doing The Hogfather by Terry Pratchett. So the book versus the movie. Be aware the movie is a mini-series, so it's 2 sort of long movies to watch.
It is on Amazon Prime.
So, yeah, make sure you watch that, ready for our next episode.
If you want to give us a like or listen to us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts, you can send us an email at nerdazons@outlook.com, and you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook under Nerdazons.
And we also have merch by the amazing, talented Craftcaster. You can find the merch on Teespring, so just search Craftcaster and you'll find our stuff.
Until then, stay nerdy.
I'm Steph.
And I'm Ange.
We're
Nerdazons.